Today we're going to be talking about President Jimmy Carter and why, in my opinion, it's a very good thing that he was sort of a bad president. Starting off with the fact that I never noticed is that his name is actually a double entendre. So you have Jimmy Carter, but you also have James. Another way to say that is Jimmy, short for Jimmy, is Jim. His middle initial E for Earl makes it Jim E. Carter. And obviously, with his passing on December 29th, I just wanted to do a quick overview of his life. So Mr. Carter was a good man before becoming president. He was a young Navy lieutenant at the age of 28 when he was called in to shut down a nuclear reactor in Chalk River in Ontario, Canada. He actually led the team on that. He was your grassroots candidate, man. He came out of nowhere. Everybody was tired of the establishment, and Jimmy Carter was your man. But he had problems too. Like his presidency was just full of excitement, and not the good kind. He had inherited a bad economy and high inflation reaching back to the Vietnam War. On top of that, the second oil embargo of 1979 made gas prices skyrocket, oil prices skyrocket. There were long lines at the gas station. There was gas rationing. And then a holy war breaks out between Iran and Afghanistan, during the end of which Russia gets goaded into sticking their nose in it. Anyway, a Shah of Iran comes down with lymphoma. He requests access to the United States to get treatment. The State Department urges Carter not to let him into the country, and Carter has his own doubts, but he ultimately decides to let him in. This instantly causes outrage in Iran, and a group of students decide to seize the U.S. Embassy for 440 days and take 53 U.S. diplomats hostage. So this outraged U.S. citizens who then cried out for war. But Carter, who had had his hands on a nuclear reactor in 1952, decided he wanted no part of that. So he starts to negotiate. But Iran wanted their Shah back in Iran to stand trial as part of a condition for releasing the U.S. diplomats. Then the Shah dies, and that complicates things because now their bargaining chip is gone. So what does Iran do? They start naming off conditions and stipulations that are humiliating and totally unreasonable to the United States. And every time that President Carter would agree to something, the Ayatollah would just veto it like, nah, I'm good. What would come to be the final nail in Jimmy Carter's reelection is that on April 24th, 1980, 8 American helicopters would embark on a rescue mission to try to save the U.S. diplomats. Unfortunately, due to a sandstorm, a helicopter crashed into a C-130 transport and killed 8 servicemen. So Jimmy Carter had to call off the operation. Not that he was right or wrong, it's just what happened. And again, it's not the only reason, but it was the final nail in his coffin. Like, everybody turned against Jimmy Carter at this point. So he lost very badly to Ronald Reagan, securing only 3 states, and somebody please explain to me how he had 35 million popular votes to Reagan's 43 million, because by this map, I don't see it. So anyways, in the face of so much adversity, with so much going on during his presidency, some people say he just didn't do enough. So he lost. Side note, the 53 U.S. diplomats were released on day 1 of Reagan's administration because Reagan made some promises and the Iranians just didn't want that kind of smoke. So Jimmy Carter lost his re-election, but then for the rest of his life, he relentlessly pursued justice and peace. Humanitarianism, he policed world conflicts by way of the Carter Center, which was strictly focused on defending human rights and ending suffering around the world. He was even awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 2002, easily the most active former president in U.S. history. And after losing his wife, Rosalind Carter, of 77 years, he would follow after her on December 29, 2024. So why would I say it's a very good thing that he was sort of a bad president? Because in my opinion, his failed presidency would spark a flame of philanthropy in him that would burn for the rest of his life, around 43 years. And then all he did was help people. If you like what I do, please leave a like. They really help. Consider subscribing, and I will see you next time.